Okay. Yesterday I had I was called in for a meeting. I couldn't complete the GD session that was planned. I'm not sure how many teams were from this group. So if it was cancelled yesterday, we have to reschedule by today tomorrow. So kindly do that. And those who have already attended the GD, please share their links. If you have already not done so, please do that. For the past couple of days, we have been discussing about the interview questions. I would like to hear from you guys if it was helpful or I thought it was helpful and it was not helpful to you. Even then, you'll have to tell me honest feedback of sorts, right? Do tell me if it was helpful or not. So we will do something else, kind, right? If if you come up with such an answer, give me a hint as to what needs to be done, what will be useful for you guys, rather than me going in one direction. I would definitely want to stop and check if it is in the right direction that we are progressing. um, so I request all of you to consider speaking your heart out right now, telling the class itself that sorry Praveen, we are not happy with what's happening. If we want to change the course of the direction of the course, we should do it, right? Please help me. Okay. Right. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Okay. So you mean to say, okay, I thought I did it already. Can you be specific about the dates of the forms? I would. Okay. I'll correct it. I'll correct it right away. Okay. Sure. Thanks, Karuna. Anyone else? Kaushik? Yes. Hmm. 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 Okay. Right. See, this is already okay. Wonderful. We'll do that. So the second part was not in my agenda, but we'll do that. But then the first part was already planned. Once the GD sessions are over, that's what we were planning to do. So everyone will have to go through an interview session. But then obviously we can have sample sessions during this half an hour period, during the session period. But otherwise, most of you guys have to come online, come on a video call um, during after the class hours, so that we can have the session. So that was already planned. That is already there for everyone. But whatever you said, yeah, whatever you said, we'll definitely do it. You guys will be the person who will interview, and I will be the student or interviewee for that matter. No, we'll do that as well. Now, let's see where I am. No, it's been a while since I attended an interview. Let's see where I am. All right, do that. We'll do that. Should we do that today, Khadija? I'm okay. Let's see. If you want to start, please. Anyone wants to go? Anyone other than Khadija wants to do the interview with me? Oh, you'll be interviewing me. That's the plan here. Okay. True. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine with anything. That you can itself, point out a person who can, start asking. I'm fine. Anyone to start with? I have to just go through it and then see. Kausalya, Christy. It's just hard for them. Hard for me to bring them. I think Divya, Deepika, Gomati, Gopi Krishna, Kavita, Kritika Vel, Nagesh. Almost, once I start reading out the names, there are a lot of people. I'm fine with it. Guys, I'm open to questions. You can start asking questions. Maybe multi people can ask questions. It's like maybe you're a panel and I'm the sole interviewee, so you can proceed. Anyone, it's open to the whole class. Need not restrict to one or two. It's open to the whole class. You can start asking questions. Let's see how prepared I am. Let's see if I am good enough for you guys to get tips from in terms of interview. Let's see. All right, go ahead. And guys, one more thing. I'm not a BME guy. It has to be interview HR interview questions. You can't do a technical interview with me. Right. I'm okay. Proceed. Good morning, Gayatri. Okay. Uh, Malona, pretty serious. I think three words are done, but um, uh, I mean it, right? I don't beat around the bush. Straight arrow guy. But then such questions will not arise in an interview. This is more of a psychological therapy session, maybe. See, you can ask whatever you think is right, but then my comments is related to my experience. From experience, I've not heard of such question in my entire life. So that's the reason I'm pointing it out. But it's absolutely okay. I'm not targeting anyone who's asking questions. I'm just saying these questions will not be asked in a normal interview. Sure. You don't have to tell me. I consider all of you as HRs. Go on. Okay. First of all, I would definitely have to apologize for the delay that I ensued in terms of submitting the task. I really apologize for the delay. But then, yes, I had a valid reason that I would like to, share right away, so that there is not any misconception or miscommunication related to that. There was a bug that we identified in terms of the last minute detail that we added on. I was fixing that, and that was not communicated to the client on time. That's something which had to be dealt with at the last minute because it was a last minute detail that was added. But anyways, the communication gap was there. I again apologize for that as well. In terms of the punishment, I don't think I'll be the right person to give you an idea about that, because I don't want any punishment first place. But yeah, I hope, really hope, this doesn't affect me in the monthly review, performance review that comes up, which is around the corner in the next week, I think. I really hope that this doesn't affect me on that front. If you still think I need to be, given a point in the right direction, I believe, just give me one more chance. I really think I will be not repeating the mistakes that I did this week. I hope I can rectify those things. But thank you for asking me this question. No problem. Good morning, Mahit. Yes, Mahit. Thanks. Okay. Okay. The first question that I've asked is my interview, or oh, okay. Okay. Okay, this was during my undergraduation. I was attending an interview, which is kind of for an internship. There was a NGO that was here. Uh, I had to go through a couple of rounds of interviews as a practice session, but then it was considered a selection process as well for joining as an intern for the one of the largest NGOs the world can see. It was in Trichy, St. Joseph's. It was one of the prestigious institutions, and this again was one of the huge NGOs that you can find. So it was a big deal. I was nervous, in terms of even meeting people there. I was not as open as I am right now. So okay, the first time I entered the hall, I was nervous. I was there anyways. I shook hands and then I took my seat. The first thing they asked was, "What do you know about us?" Right. So I had a couple of points related to them. I told them that, and then they said, "Okay, that's just the not even 1% of what we do. Did you read through our website, or did you find anything anywhere? Did you talk to people about us? Have you heard? Because even last week we had a news about us. It was all over newspapers and the channels. Have you not read anything about that?" Then I went blank. So that was a bad experience. And then the second question was about me. So they wanted me to tell about myself. So obviously, as a fresher, not even a fresher, I was still pursuing my second year undergraduation. So I was talking about my school, my college, why I joined there, and why I chose physics and all those stuff. And they finally, once I finally finished, it took 30 seconds to 40 seconds for me to answer them. Once I finally finished, they said, they repeated the same question, right? The question was again, why don't you share something about yourself? Why don't you tell me about yourself? It was a eye opener for me. And then I realized that they are asking about me and not about what I did. So I started talking about my passion, my pastime, and what do I do if given a chance? What would I perform in terms of the internship? So that is something which is actually I can still relate. Even the future interviews, I always not just give the information, but always tell them what I am as a person and what I can bring to the table for the organization to gain from. So that is something which I learned. And the third question was about my achievements. What did I achieve in the past 1.5 years in St. Joseph's Trichy? So guys, don't laugh. I was part of the dance team then. I know. So I told them that I had, joined a dance team after 6 months down the line. I was part of the fine arts team. I used to visit a lot of other institutions, other colleges for competitions, and we had won a lot of. Actually, yes, we did. Trust me on that. I told them that as an achievement, and they said, "What is your future idea about that particular achievement? Do you have anything to follow up?" I said I took it as a additional thing in college, so I don't have much of a plan in terms of the dance stuff. So they said okay, and I got the internship. So the reason why I'm sharing this rather than the proper interviews that I later started attending was because in the first interview itself I had a huge learning in terms of this question. They asked me, say something about yourself, share something about yourself, right? So I don't remember the exact word, but this was it. So I made a learning. I got a learning where I just can't give an information about me and thinking that that is all it is needed. The reason this question is asked is to assess me in terms of the communication. That is one, but then the main reason is, as I told you guys yesterday, to find out what is the value addition that I can bring to the table as a person. Who am I? So that is what I should share. So this was a learning that I got, and I believe Magesh, I did answer your question. Right. Yes, Khatija. Okay, that's a wonderful question, Khatija. Thanks for asking. I would like to, talk a little bit about, what kind of experience that I have had till now. Even though I was a fresher, I am a fresher right now. I used to, work with my family in terms of the business, in terms of my father's work. He used to come home and still work, so I had to help him at a lot of times. So I have seen what work pressure does to a person. My father is a great example for me in terms of how to handle pressure situations, because he was always under pressure. I could see it in the way he interacts with his colleagues over the phone or maybe in person too. So that is something which was a huge learning curve for me. I understand that pressure is part of work life, a corporate life. It is not that I will try and quit, but rather I'll try and focus my energy in terms of how to handle the issue at hand rather than look at the pressure. If someone's standing over me, or there is a constant flow of mail asking questions, so these are the things that I really understand, and I can definitely compartmentalize these factors. The pressure that is coming from different sources. I can compartmentalize. I can utilize that as a. I can understand that as a need, and then focus on the work. So I don't have a special technique to address my pressure, because I don't mix performance and pressure. I try and compartmentalize and uh, keep doing my work, even though there is a lot of pressure from the other end. That is something which I learned from my father, and also some of my friends, or seniors for that matter. So this is a normal way of handling at my home. My father taught me this. My taught me in the sense he didn't actually sit and teach me, but the way he handled, there is always a constant flow of pressure, but he never stopped his work because of that. He never sat and tried to do something else to deal with the pressure. He had the pressure at the same time he was working. So the learning that I got from him, I think, will help me. At the same time, I realize pressure is going to be there every day. So I can't complain, even though if let's say there is a lot of pressure in this workplace, as you mentioned, this is going to be a hard work. It's a difficult role that you're having, interviewed. I understand that is going to be the case wherever I go, not just this organization. If I get a chance, I'll have to face the pressure. But at the same time, I realize this is going to be my life. I will have to deal with pressure all the time. So quitting is not an option, um, because I can quit here. So wherever I go, the same thing is a possibility. So quitting is not an option. I'll try and compartmentalize and deal with it. So I think that's the way I go about handling pressure, Khatija. Thank you. Hi, Megla. Sorry, I can't hear you properly, Megla. I can't hear you. Little louder. Yes. Yeah, sure. Okay. Toughest decision that I have taken in my life. It's not just one. I can't actually list out and then rate number one, number two kind. But then, yeah, there are a couple of things that comes to my mind right away. One is choosing what after choosing the what, right? The what question after school. So that was one of the toughest decisions that I had to take. Fortunately, my parents pushed me in a particular direction, and I thought that was a good thing, and then I followed. But then, since you asked tough decisions by you, I don't think this is a decision that I made. I actually followed my parents there. But in terms of my work, previous organization, I had to decide in terms of making a complaint regarding an ethical problem that was going on. Something morally not right, ethically not right was happening in my organization. I had to make a formal complaint. That was actually expected of me as a a person who signed the organization's offer letter. I have to follow a certain rules, um, certain means, so that I don't we don't deviate in terms of the moral compass of the organization. So one of my bosses, there is a dotted line boss and a direct line boss. So the difference is operationally I will be reporting to someone, and administratively I will be reporting to someone. The person who I was reporting to in terms of operation, work wise, that person was involved in a morally corrupt behavior. So I had to report it. But at the same time, I ran a risk of being sidelined by that person, because what if the management doesn't take an action? So I had to discuss this with someone. So I chose a HR, another HR from another location. Without giving names, I spoke to that person, and then found strength to make the formal complaint. But then the decision making process itself took me quite a while, maybe around 10 days, 15 days for that matter. So that was one of the difficult decisions that I have taken, Megla. Always, all the time. Disagreeing in a decision is something which is like giving me an ice cream and and taking me on a trip. I'm really happy about it. You give me any scenario for that matter, I'll find my spot there, my stand. I stand somewhere. I believe in something. If I don't believe in that, I don't belong there. So it's easy for me to find a ground where I need to stand in any issue for that matter. So I stand there, and then whoever is talking to me about that, I will have to interact with them, and then I'll have to ensure that there is a debate going on. So at the end of it, it doesn't mean even after a lot of discussion, a lot of conversation, we will not end up having an agreement, between the parties. So I understand your question. I'll always have a discussion, I'll always have a conversation. It Most of the time we will not find common ground, and hence there is a disagreement. And there is a term in English called agree to disagree. So we'll use that. So I'll be happy to say I don't agree with the person. That's something which I can. That's the easiest thing that I can handle. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Hmm. Okay. Uh, so to answer your first question, and what was it again? The process, how long it takes, and that's what your question was. Yes, as you also mentioned in your question itself, it depends on the organization, and it depends on how many people are attending the interview. Let's say there are like 400 students are attending the interview on the same day. Obviously, we can't finish it on the same day. No matter how many HRs, how many teams that you bring in, it will take 2 to 3, 4 days maybe. So yes, so they have a structure, right? They have a GD, they have a written test, and then they have their technical interview, and then finally the HR round of interview. It will take more than a day, but that is something which I had dealt with. I'm not sure. I've not seen that in terms of Savita. So from my perspective, the more the students, it will take a longer time. And also, it depends in terms of which organization comes in. So, some of them might have completed the online written test, right? So you never know how long it takes. And in terms of the HR round of interview, again it depends on the availability of the resource. Okay, so these guys who come to interview you, conduct the GD, conduct the written test, or conduct the technical round and HR round, these guys don't just do this. They have something else pending at the workplace too. So their availability also matters. So some of them may come today, and the next day, so if something comes up at workplace, they will have to find some replacement for that person. If they cannot do that, then that person's work in terms of the GD, in terms of the interview, gets pending, and it has to be done on some other day. So these are practical issues, and then it depends on the crowd. It depends on the organization. There are a lot of factors involved. There are companies which have completed in one day as well, but then I don't think that's the rule with every other company. So we can have multiple options in terms of how long it takes. Okay, and what was your second question? Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think we discussed this 2 3 days before. One, if they offer you water, please take it. You don't have to say no. You can have the water, and they won't just offer water. They'll at sometimes they will offer. They'll just ask, "Do you need something?" Then you can ask for water. That's absolutely fine. But then in terms of solid food, right, you can definitely say no thank you, right? No, I'm fine. So no thank you order, no I'm fine is better. But still, if they insist, you don't have to say no, because the objective is not that. You can அவங்க பிரியாணி ஆஃபர் பண்ணாலும் you can say no I'm fine, no thank you. But even if they insist on giving you something, you just can take it, get it in the table, and then you can start giving the interview without touching the food. You don't have to do that. You don't have to touch the food at all. But since you asked, the one question, if you accept the food, is it a bad thing? You initially saying no. You initially saying no thank you. Even then they insisted, which means uh, they are testing in terms of your professionalism, or in terms of your communication, nonverbal skills, right? So you accept. It's the basic thing, this is actually not an interview thing. But what happens is, during not in India, in Western world, in America for that matter, many other organizations do have a booze kind of official booze party kind, where you do have some alcohol, while you converse with your clients, your customers, prospective clients. What happens then is somebody will offer you a drink, and you can't say no there. That's a business etiquette kind there in terms of such meetings organized. So similar approach here. You can have it, but then you don't have to eat it. You can have it in your hand, or you can place it in the desk, but you don't have to actually eat it. At some point they might even come up with, why are you not having it, you don't like it? Then you say, no, I'll have it little later kind, and you can follow. But then this is just to test, how are you handling that, are you handling it professionally, nothing more. Okay, see, is it okay now? Okay, what I said lastly, I think it's still there is an echo. All right. Okay, so I was saying, you don't have to eat it, or you don't have to have the drink that they're offering. You can have it in the desk, and then you can converse with them. In case if they still ask, why are you not having it, okay, you can just tell them, yeah, yeah, sure, I will have it later. Or you can just take a small piece and have it in your hand, you don't have to eat it. See, this is just to test how professionally you react when somebody is offering you a piece of food. How do you react? So that is what they are testing rather than anything else. Yeah. Okay. Possible. Possible. Again, it's a practical question, Saravana. I don't think I have the definite answer here. See, sometimes to test your, real you, they might be asking for a sudden interview sessions. But most of the time, 95% of the time, I guess, it will be because of the practical difficulties they have at workplace. So anything is possible. You guys have to be ready. Right. Yeah, yeah, I'm just saying. Christy has sent a. Have you been in some challenging situation? Explain how you handled it. Not really, Christy. Challenging situation is something which you'll have to agree that it was challenging. For me, nothing is challenging. Somebody is asking a question. I take it that's a challenging situation in terms of the interviews, right? If that was the case, I don't think I anymore. Maybe at the start of my career, yes, but not anymore. I see every question as it comes. I try to understand the question first. If I'm not clear, then I will definitely ask them. If I'm not sure about the question or sure about the answer, I will give a couple of more questions to understand what exactly they're asking. So once I get really what they wanted, then I'll try to give the honest answer that I possibly can, and that's it. I don't see it as a challenging situation. More reason being, I'm not a technical guy, so I've never had a technical round of interview myself. So I've sat in a technical interview where the technical guy was interviewing the candidate. I was there and I know how it goes. But in terms of me taking up technical questions, that has never happened. But in terms of any other interview for that matter, challenging situations is something which maybe there was some at the start of my career, but not anymore. If I have to remember, everything was challenging at some point. Even answering about why did you choose MBA after physics, that was a challenging question. I can't go ahead and say physics was my parents' choice, right? So, so that's something I didn't have a problem later on. Yes. Oh, okay, okay. It was that way. Okay, okay. If that is the case, also the I think the same answer would have sufficed. I don't think, yeah, challenging situation in life, then yes. If she's asking out of interview, in an interview, but about in a challenging situation in life, that could be many. Uh, I have one which comes to my mind right away. I was in my final year, so I was about to write my semester exams in my undergraduation. It was the odd semester. I was about to write the CAA for that. Then I got sick. I was very sick that I couldn't even get out of bed. I was in hostel too. So my friends packed me up on a Sunday morning. They threw me in a bus. They got me three tickets to lie down and then travel the 4 hours that I had to travel to my hometown. And they called my parents and they were ready with an auto to pick me up from the bus stand. So immediately they took me to a hospital and I was tested positive for jaundice. So for the but then this is not a challenging part. The challenging part was the next few months. I was, since it was jaundice, I had to deal with the food intake for the next few months. I was told nothing colorful, nothing spicy, no oil, no salt, nothing. So my food was white all the time, morning idlis and idiyappams and all those stuffs, right? And so that was the challenging part because I've always been imagine a person at the age of 17, 18, 19 is asked to eat a particular type of food for a long time. It was a very challenging period. But then, yes, if you want me to talk about what I achieved for 3.5 months, I managed to stay without non-vegetarian food or anything colorful. So that itself is something which was challenging for me. But yes, the reason why I'm mentioning this is, even though it was a challenging situation, I understood the necessity of facing that situation without any distraction, without any deviations, because it was my health. So I followed a stringent, strenuous uh, uh, diet for the 3 or 4 months,